question. Yeah.
When you go back to the special relativity stuff, is there not an assumption there that God has mass?
Are you thinking about this slide? God is out of time, so it's not meaningful to say that God has a mass or not a mass. God is.
But with certain God having a part, then is there not an assumption there that God has much that mass? There's certain areas that.
I'm not thinking of God. I'm still not thinking really of God in a unity, but rather that God is thinking. God can observe the entire universe in one slice, the slice of space-time, and as such, he has to choose which space-time he's going to observe the universe in. If we go back to this book idea, where are we? There. Each page represents a slice of space-time where he's observing the space, but he has to choose which one he observes. I hope that answers the question. But certainly it doesn't make sense to talk about. I'm not saying that God is in our universe, but rather that God is simply in our time. And the universe is separate. I explained it.
It could be the case though that he could observe all frames of reference though.
Still doesn't work, because
our time is perhaps not God's time.
Hey?
Our time is perhaps not God's time.
Perhaps.
God doesn't see necessarily time, he sees all these other dimensions which conform the times of different frames of reference.
I mean, you're almost approaching the deist view by doing that. Because you're assuming that they're out of time. The idea that he could look at all the space-times, well, if we go back, where am I? Page down. Oops. If we go back to this picture and imagine that God looks for my laser pointer, he's not going to look for my laser pointer, no, I know. Thank you. So, you imagine that he picks all of these, okay? Or you can just say, well, I'll take the intersection of all of them. Okay, so I know, so my time, I'm going to know, clearly I know the past, so I know everything that goes beyond there. Then I'm going to choose this time as well, and I'll know all the time, everything that happened in that past as well. When I take the intersection of all that, all I'm going to end up with are the two light cones. Everything that works beyond here. So, if you like, everything that's the light blue plus this triangle down here will form part of what God knows. And then, effectively what's happened is God has chosen this cone to be the God's time, which is a choice. You can do that, but it's still a choice. So it doesn't solve the problem. Yeah.
There were a series of physics, like waveform collapse and things like that, where you develop other universes, like sort of multiverse theory. So it's not just possible that there is a much more complicated God than we thought yet. And there are all these different timelines for all these different people who are observing all at once, and creates these miracles and looks after all rather than discarding the universes.
Well, certainly in answer to the question, I hold my hands up. I've not put any quantum mechanics into this problem. One, because I'm not particularly keen on quantum mechanics and far more keen on general relativity, so that's my own bias. There are certainly issues with quantum mechanics, and the attempt to combine quantum mechanics with general relativity has eluded us for a long time. Somebody else needs to think of the theological implications of quantum mechanics. Put it that way.
But I still mean, like, there would be a multiverse sort of theory, and God could just look after all the universes. He doesn't keep discarding all of these different universes. He just looks after. He's got. He has the power. He can just look after all of them.
Yeah, I mean that's fine. If you just essentially you look at my multiverse picture and you say, well, they're each on an easel, and they're all God's chosen universe.
Is there any way of thinking of this without the speed of light being a limit for how God could influence the universe? We take that from our own view because we can't see anything happening faster than light.
Yes, so God could produce a miracle. Well, we wouldn't see it as a single miracle because a single miracle is an event which splits out. But God could create, if you like, an infinite number of miracles, and that would change the whole future. Okay, that would be fine, but it still wouldn't. It'd still have the two different universes, the one with the miracle and the one without the miracle. So it wouldn't solve that problem.
Could you say God's main reference is the centre of mass of the universe?
We don't believe the universe has a centre of mass. As far as we're concerned, every point has a centre of mass. But again, it's the same. It's choosing a particular frame on which to observe things in.
Yeah. Why couldn't God just have acted at the beginning of the universe on a couple of molecules, knowing over time how, if he knew from the beginning how each molecule would interact, knowing probability that he could predict, he could have influenced every event that's ever happened in history based on just the actions on affecting a couple atoms?
Well, that, if you like, is the standard day's view.
You can write from our universe just as a very, at one moment in time, the universe is infinitesimally dense, that way you can ignore this time spacing, where it's just infinitesimally dense, where you act and it expands out and then becomes our event and miracle.
Well, in my opinion, that's equivalent to the day's view. You just create the universe and then stand back. The universe will project, and whether he just sits and watches it, or whether he watches it from outside the universe is irrelevant to that point. It just happens. But in such a universe, you don't create miracles, not in the sense of suspending the laws of physics. Because what you said is they're going to obey the laws of physics when they're not. I assume that's what you mean.
Just at the beginning, we just say an atom moves in this direction, so this direction affects everything from them. But that's ignoring probability of that atom performing in that way. So
I mean, people certainly say that God's greatest miracle was creating the universe, and then really he didn't need to do anything else. As I say, that's very opinion.
Maybe it's just